welcome to another episode of The Wave. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome.
It is.
Welcome back to another edition of The Wave, the weekly news and chat show from the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast.
It is indeed.
How are you, Adam?
I'm very good, thank you. Yourself?
Very good.
Yeah, been up to much?
I haven't been up so much. Oh, I had my date.
Oh, of course. How did the date go?
Yeah, it went well.
Excellent. You having a second?
I think it might be on the cards, yeah.
Good.
So, I the movie screening, private movie screening.
Went well?
An evening with myself. Yeah, it did go quite well.
What was the movie?
I selected, in the end, I went with Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, awesome. What a great film. I love Jojo Rabbit. Had you seen it before?
No.
Neither of you?
No.
Wonderful.
It'd been
What
on
did
the
you
list for ages. Really enjoyed it.
It's good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought, what's going to be like funny and also impactful?
But you picked exactly the right movie.
We'll go with that one. It went well. The Q&A session was okay. And
Did you know the answers to all the cues?
I aided the cues.
Excellent.
And I gave the movie a little introduction. And then I did pilfer a bottom of the stream game.
Oh, did you? What did you pilfer?
I did the old either or questions.
Nice.
Did a set of those. And then,
Did you learn things?
Yeah, a couple of things.
Oh, cool.
And I took some selfies at the end, which I think the attendee was delighted with.
Excellent. You old romantic, you.
So yeah, the first evening with went quite well.
Excellent. Will there be a second?
Possibly, yeah.
Surely it's her turn to date you next.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted. And then
do.
I'll tell you what else happened to me this week.
Go on.
Which was really weird.
Right.
I was in a supermarket.
This is a surprise. You seem to live in them.
And getting some supplies. And I was wandering down the bakery aisle.
Okay.
And a man stopped me. And he was an old, I would say he was an old man.
Okay.
But he wasn't like, I think he had mobility issues would be the thing to say.
So maybe not as old as he looks, but
yes.
Moved difficultly.
Yes. And basically he wanted a seeded loaf from the bottom shelf.
Good choice.
Now the bottom shelf was pretty, like, I don't know, just 5 centimetres off. It's the width of a shelf off the floor. And it's like, I can't get down there. I've seen a Warburton's loaf. Can you get it for me? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I went down to get it, and I was like, no, that's not down there.
Oh.
And I was like, no, there's none down here. They're all wholemeal or whatever, and they weren't even the same brand. And he's like, no, there was definitely one there. And I was like,
right,
no, there isn't. And he's like, no, there's a seeded loaf. I've seen it. And at this point, I'm looking around going, am I on camera?
You're being pranked.
I was like, okay, I'll have a look again. And I even moved some out of the way. I was like, there's definitely not what you're asking me for isn't here. And I stood up and I was like, I'll look behind, like further down the shelf. I was like, no, I can't see any because it's Brexit. There's nothing on the shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then another guy turns up and he's like, what you after, mate? So this guy tells him. And he has a look as well. He's like, no, I can't see one. He's like, no, I definitely saw one. And then he's like, oh, I look myself. So he like really difficultly like crouches onto all fours, babe. He's all the time he's going, oh, last time I did this, I couldn't get up, I can't move very well.
What?
And he looks and he goes, it felt like it took him 5 minutes to get down on his haunches, on his hands and knees by the time he's got all the way down to this bottom shelf, and he goes, yeah, you're right. Not one there.
What?
I'm like, what? You asked me for help. And this other guy, we just exchanged looks and we were like, what? Why?
Oh, people are
Why don't you
insane.
just believe? I'm not trying to wind you up here, dude. What is it in my interest to tell you there's not something there when there
why
is?
Why would you lie to him? I'd love it if you're like, there's one, and then put your own
out and I was like, I'm so stressed now. Here I was, just minding my own business, and I walked away. I was like, stressed.
Oh, I would like to say I'm surprised, but I know exactly what supermarket you're in, and for the clientele in there, I'm not surprised in the slightest. I tend to go shopping on a Saturday night now because there's nobody in there. It's great. I'm so old, but it's great. You don't have to talk to anybody.
People are so weird.
People are so weird.
I just don't want to be horrible because I'm like, he was, but I was like, No.
I'd love it if you'd have found one and then just put it in your own trolley and walked off. That would have been so funny.
Oh, do you mean this one?
Yeah.
Thanks. See you later.
Where I thought this story was going, I thought you were going to say, I bent down to pick it up and my back went and I couldn't get back up or something.
I was done.
It turns out you're the old man with the mobility issue.
So that was odd. How about you?
What's a weird story? I haven't got anything weird like that at all. But like I say, I don't really go out in public ever. For that very reason. No, I'm all right. I've been doing some DIY around the house.
Lovely.
Printing some cool stuff out on my new 3D printer.
Yeah, you're getting quite adventurous.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's just massive wang printing out.
That's next. I've got to get the right sort of filament for that. Yeah, that's about it, really. I've got a question for you.
Brilliant.
It's a question of the week.
Fantastic.
I read it earlier today. I've not really given it any thought myself, but I thought we'd do it. It's a would you rather. Would you rather get 5 pence for every time you breathed?
Okay.
Or 25 pence for every step that you took?
I can't choose day by day.
No.
Well, you're always breathing.
Yeah,
How many times
exactly.
do you breathe a day?
Much more times than you step. But is it
It's five times the
more?
amount.
Exactly.
I think both are a good deal.
I think you're right. I think both are a good deal.
But there will be some days where I tried not to make it too often, but there are some days where I will walk to my clothes area to put my clothes on, the wardrobe.
That's the worst.
Walk downstairs.
Yeah. And then never walk again.
I was thinking walk to the car.
Yeah.
Drive to the office. That's no steps.
Yeah.
Or drive out to whichever site. Sit at the desk for many hours.
Then drive home and go to bed.
Pretty much.
All the time you're breathing. All the time you're doing that, you're breathing.
Yeah.
But
there's some days I do 10,000 steps.
Which is £2,000.
Yeah.
If my maths is 2,500.
2,500, yeah. And that's what you should do every day.
Would it incentivize you to do that every day?
100%. I would get a treadmill desk.
Because
it would pay for itself.
I think it would make you fitter to take the step. You might get less money, but you'd be fitter.
Just living longer.
Just living longer.
Just making.
How many breaths do you think you take a day?
I don't know. We could Google it.
So let's Google it.
Sting.
I'll cut this out, but I'll Google it. How many breaths per day?
I love that.
Somebody's Googled it before.
It just went over your head.
20,000. So it's not that many.
20,000 breaths. Okay.
So it's only double the amount of steps if you're doing 10,000 steps.
7.5 million a year.
Okay, that's interesting.
What's that times 5 pennies?
Get your calculator out. 20,000 breaths doesn't seem that many. I think the steps one is more lucrative here.
I can't do the math. I think it's about 3.7 million.
So if you're only doing 20,000 breaths for 5 pence each, or 10,000 steps at 25 pence each, steps is makes more economical sense.
Yeah.
But you'd have to do 10,000
reward.
steps every day.
You wouldn't have to.
But you're incentivized to do that.
Yeah, of course you are, yeah.
Because every
I'm not going to never not breathe.
I'd feel guilty about sitting down. If I was getting 25 people at every step, I'd be like, why am I not stepping? We're going steps?
Steps.
I think steps is the right answer.
Yeah.
And you'll be healthier.
Yeah, true.
You're just not earning anything while you're asleep, whereas with breathing, you're earning while you're sleeping.
True. Well, I don't earn anything when I'm asleep now, so.
That's also true. All of our phones just went off at the same time. Don't know what happened. Right. Good answer. Well done. Shall we do some Netflix news? We've got quite a bit to get through this week.
Yeah, we have. And do you know what? The first bit of news is something that has just broken this very afternoon.
Yes.
Because here we are, the traditional 1st of February is apparently when Netflix releases their sort of look ahead to 2024.
Yeah, you'd think they'd do it in December, wouldn't you?
Despite us being, a
1/12
of the way in.
through.
But when have Netflix ever done anything that makes sense? So what they've done, as we have seen the last few years, we've got a trailer, which is a spliced together of first looks at a lot of different movies and TV shows that are coming this year.
Yeah. I watched it earlier.
There's no more than, 10 seconds of Eddie Murphy and the new Beverly Hills Cop and other things like that. But what they've also done on Tudum is is sort of created a bit of an interactive scrolly thing.
Yeah.
Where
it's just a website.
You can tab by movies, shows, and events, and all in one place. You can do your reading on what Netflix is coming. Right at the top of this website, where they've got scroll for more in that sort of rolling text. That's very sort of GeoCities.
I was just going to say the same thing. I was waiting to interrupt you to say the same thing. It felt like when you used to build websites in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's like when you used to have like a man with an under construction hammer and stuff and a hit counter. It feels like that, but so it doesn't do anything. I thought it was going to scroll on it and it'd auto scroll.
No, it doesn't.
It's just a GIF.
Yeah, it's not even on the level of some of these. I know some of like the BBC or the Guardian, some of the decent budgeted news sites have started doing like interactive articles that will come up with.
You'd scroll past the photo and it'd break open to the titles.
None of that.
So it's like somebody's built this on a GeoCities website. I was going to say the same thing.
Probably Ted Sarandos did it himself.
Probably.
So we don't go for everything. I would just say go and check it out if you are interested, because there is an absolute ton on here.
Yeah.
And also check the trailer out, because, like I said, it's the first look at some of this
There's
stuff.
a nice, good reveal at the end.
There is. And we'll start with movies. So some of these have specific dates attached to them. Some of them, like this first one, just say 2024.
Okay.
The first one is Atlas.
That's the new J-Lo film.
It is. Stars Jennifer Lopez and Simu Liu.
I like Simu
Directed by Brad Payton. Atlas Shepard is a brilliant but misanthropic data analyst with a deep distrust of artificial intelligence. She joins a mission to capture a renegade robot with whom she shares a mysterious past. But when plans go awry, her only hope of saving the future of humanity from AI is to trust it.
Ooh. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's misanthropic mean?
Yeah.
You said it as if you knew what it meant, so I assumed you did.
I think it's someone who's a bit of trouble.
Okay.
Doesn't play by the rules.
I'll take that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure I am. Also coming in 2024 is Back in Action. You may remember this as being the movie which has brought Cameron Diaz out of retirement.
I do remember reading about this, speaking about this.
She stars with Jamie Foxx, Kyle Chandler, Glenn Close, and Andrew Scott in this.
And Jamie Dimitri.
Years after giving up life as CIA spies to start a family, Emily and Matt find themselves dragged back into the world of espionage. I feel like I've seen that movie a lot.
Definitely.
I'm sure it'll be fine. July the 3rd is the release date of Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
Nice.
Starring Eddie Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Judge Reinhold.
Where have they dug Judge Reinhold up from?
The previous Beverly Hills Cop movies.
So I think about Judge Reinhold more than most 80s actors, I think.
Do you?
Occasionally I just think, I wonder whatever happened to Judge Reinhold.
I just love this
He
image.
was in everything in the 80s.
I just have this image of you sitting on your sofa on a quiet night. Nothing on, like TV's off.
Just thinking about
maybe
Judge
just a lamp on. Just like, I'm just going to
That happens.
deep breaths,
That has happened.
meditating on the fate of
how
Judge Reinhold.
the thing about the Roman Empire went around a while back.
Yeah.
Did you read about this?
Yes, yeah.
Men think about the Roman Empire more than people realise. I think Judge Reinhold's my Roman Empire.
I'm sure he'd love to hear that.
That might convince me to watch that film, even though I detest Eddie Murphy.
Also coming in 2024 is Carry On, which stars not one of those movies. Not a British sex comedy.
Damn
it is a movie starring Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman. A young TSA agent fights to outsmart a mysterious traveller who blackmails him into letting a dangerous package slip onto a Christmas Eve flight.
Ooh. Do you think somewhere in the studio there was a conversation about calling that movie Carry On? But because of the Carry On movies?
I don't know, because, I mean, I don't know if that's something that is just so British it wouldn't have even...
But Taron Egerton's British.
Well, true.
So he might have gone, really? We're calling it Carry On? Carry On up the plane or something?
Carry On. Do you call... It's...
Technically it'd be called hand luggage in this country.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't call it Carry On,
No.
do we, in this country? We
Probably
tend to
for
call
that
it
exact
hand
reason.
luggage. Yeah, maybe.
I think some
maybe
studio
it will
exec
change.
has at least had one conversation about calling it that.
March the 8th is Damsel, which is Millie Bobby Brown, Old Stranger Things, versus Dragons.
It is indeed. There's a heck of a cast for this one.
Yeah, it also stars Ray Winston, Nick Robinson, Angela Bassett, and Robin Wright.
I think that'll do well. She's a good draw, Millie Bobby Brown.
Richard Linklater, his next movie, Hitman, is arriving on Netflix on June the 7th. I think we mentioned this being purchased from Sundance Film Festival by Netflix.
We did.
Inspired by a true story, a straight-laced professor discovered he has a hidden talent as a fake hitman. He meets his match in a client who steals his heart and ignites a powder keg of deception, delight, and mixed-up identities. April the 19th. I know this is a big date in your diary. Rebel Moon Part 2. The Scar Giver.
Terrible name.
Every time I see that, I think it's a scare.
I do as well. And then for some reason I think of a scarecrow.
We don't need to talk more about Rebel Moon.
Nope.
Later in 2024 comes 6888, which tells the inspiring true story of the brave women of the first and only Women's Army Corps unit of colour to be stationed overseas during World War II. Directed by Tyler Perry.
Wow.
I won't do too many more, but I really want to go through the cast of this movie, which arrives on May the 3rd. It is Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart story.
Of course it is.
The synopsis reads, Michigan, 1963. Kellogg's and Post, sworn cereal rivals, race to create a pastry that will change the face of breakfast. A tale of ambition, betrayal, sugar, and menacing milkmen. Unfrosted stars Jerry Seinfeld, who also makes his directorial debut.
I remember when this was announced. We talked about it quite a bit on the show.
Seinfeld's a guy with a lot of friends.
He is.
Some of them are in this movie because the cast is insane for this. Jerry Seinfeld, Melissa McCarthy, Jim Gaffigan, Amy Schumer, Hugh Grant, Max Greenfield, Christian Slater, Bill Burr, Dan Levy, James Marsden, Jack McBrayer, Tom Lennon, Bobby Monahan, Adrian Martinez, Sarah Cooper, and Fred Armisen.
I think that's the first time you've ever read me a cast list where I've known who every single one of those people is. It's crazy. It's a heck of a cast.
Big summer blockbuster for Netflix with a confirmed release date, August the 16th, is The Union. It's Mark Wahlberg, Halle Berry, and Adewale Akinyi Agbajabi.
Yeah.
I've not said his name for a long time.
No.
Used to be in Lost.
Yeah, he did.
Also, J.K. Simmons. Mark Wahlberg plays Mike, a down-to-earth construction worker from Jersey who is quickly thrust into the world of super spies and secret agents when his high school sweetheart Roxanne recruits him on a high-stakes US intelligence mission.
Did you just read that synopsis about the Cameron Diaz one?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if this Netflix Halle Berry movie gets released.
Yeah. We've got another scrolling GIF going across the page now.
Do you want me to do another one?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, A Family Affair later this year. Starring Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, Joey King, and Kathy Bates. A surprising romance kicks off comic consequences for a young woman when her mother and her movie star boss and her face the complications of love, sex, and identity.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot coming.
Yeah, and that's just movies.
Yeah, we've not even got to TV shows.
We can do a few TV shows.
Yep, I'm getting there.
Because we want to talk about one in particular, I'm sure.
Good Grief's on this list. That's already out.
Yeah.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
And The Greatest Night in Pop. That's already out as well.
So in terms of the TV show list, Three Body Problem we know about.
Can't wait for that. Looking forward to that.
American Primeval, an adventurous exploration of the birth of the American West, starring Taylor Kitsch, Betty Gilpin, and Dane DeHaan.
Cool name.
Later this month is obviously Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yep.
Black Doves later this year. We've talked about on this show before. That's the kind of spy thriller starring Keira Knightley, Ben Whishaw, and Sarah Lancashire. Bridgerton Season 3 has been confirmed to be released in 2 parts. Part 1 on May the 16th, Part 2 on June the 13th. Cobra Kai Season 6 does not have a confirmed date yet.
Cobra Kai's already late. Usually
Yes.
comes first thing in the new year.
The Diplomat Season 2 returns, as does Emily in Paris Season 4. And I've got a cracking news story about Emily in Paris.
I think I read it earlier. That is a cracking news story.
coming up in a second. Yeah. Love is Blind. The Night Agent returns. Netflix's most watched movie of series of last year.
Yeah.
Outer Banks season 4. Senna, the dramatic retelling of Ayrton Senna's life. And later in this year, now confirmed, as was hinted at last week in the episode in which you said this definitely won't happen this year.
I did say that.
Is the return of Squid Game.
I can't believe this is coming this year.
And if you watch the Netflix coming soon trailer, you will see about 9 seconds of Squid Game.
It's a great reveal at the end of the trailer, though. It builds
2.
up all the way to it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sweet Tooth season 3.
Fine.
That's the end of Sweet Tooth. End of the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. Many, many more.
There's a couple of sporting events coming, or one sporting event that we weren't aware of as well.
Yeah, March the 3rd will be the Netflix Slam, which, for all intents and purposes, sounds like a exhibition tennis match.
Yeah.
In which Rafael Nadal will fight Carlos Alcaraz in a special one-night tennis exhibition match.
I wonder, because they did all the Netflix-themed golf stuff. I wonder
Yeah.
if the Netflix-themed tennis stuff is coming.
It feels like tennis is like a sensible property for Netflix to go after, because tennis, I think the tennis season is pretty much 10 months out of 12.
Yeah, I think it is.
And there's so many tennis events that go on.
Yeah.
There's got to be stuff that's up for grabs reasonably cheaply, you would have thought.
Yeah, you would think so. But I'd like to think that they Netflix that all over it. I don't know how you do it, but like brand Netflix all over that.
Yeah,
like they did with the golf thing.
Yeah, sure.
Like every time the ball hits the floor, it goes ta-dum. That'd be great.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
So yeah, it's going to be a big year for Netflix. There's a lot of stuff coming. It feels like a lot of stuff's ending this year as well.
Okay.
We've got like Bridgerton's coming to an end, I think. Cobra Kai.
I don't think so.
Bridgerton's not.
I don't think so.
Cobra Kai is.
Yeah.
Outer Banks is.
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy is.
Yeah. Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth is. There's lots of endings coming. So it's like, it feels like a bit of a refresh going into next year. Which is going to be a huge year for Netflix next year.
Good. Yeah, go and have a look at that stuff. There's loads of stuff that we've not mentioned. Let's talk about Emily in Paris then.
Let's do it.
So
this is a fun story.
Season 4 of this show has already started filming in Paris, obviously. And it has been spotted that at various filming locations, locals seem to have graffitied various quite unfriendly messages protesting against the Netflix show.
It appears Parisians do not enjoy Emily in Paris.
Yeah, and to be fair, this series has had quite a bit of criticism for sort of stereotyping the French. Pictures include a shoe shop which had been smeared with the words "Emily, fuck off" and "South Paris is not yours." Similar graffiti has been written around a lot of other locations in a particular square, including a water fountain and cafe shutters emblazoned with the words "Emily not welcome." And another piece of graffiti calls the show's protagonist a shit.
Oh, it's brilliant.
The anti-Emily graffiti has fastly become part of the tourist tour.
Oh, wow.
For Emily in Paris. One local said, "We are now an ultra touristy district. We used to just be a small square preserved from tourism." Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan. The Parisians do not like Emily in Paris.
Good on them.
Yeah.
More of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Down with this sort of thing. Careful now. What's next?
Next is news that, although he doesn't like to talk about his charity work, various outlets are reporting that Reed Hastings, co-founder and executive chairman of Netflix, has donated 2 million shares in the company.
Wow.
To the Silicon Valley Community Foundation.
What is that?
It is a charitable foundation that works to bridge critical gaps and divisions to deliver strategies that reduce systematic inequalities in the Bay Area.
That's just words.
Essentially, they give out grants to local charities and groups and various things.
It's a good cause.
2 billion shares is currently 2 million shares is currently worth $1.1 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of dollars.
40% of his stock holdings.
Wow.
He's donated to this
Good for him.
foundation. So, there you go.
What a read.
He doesn't like to talk about it. So,
I'd talk about it if I just give $1 billion away.
yeah, fine. Also this week, Netflix has revealed and indeed released 5 short documentaries that have been created via its Documentary Talent Fund in the UK.
Okay. I think we've spoke about that briefly before.
I think we have. The filmmakers, if this acts as a reminder, all hail from the UK and Ireland, were each given £30,000 to create a short documentary based around the theme of connection. They premiered at a screening this week in London and are now available to watch on Netflix's YouTube channel.
Why are they on Netflix's YouTube channel, please?
I do not know.
Netflix are a video streaming service. Why are they using another one?
Have Netflix got a
I'm so
streaming
confused.
option? Yeah, because it's not like there's not a million short films on actual Netflix.
It's like YouTube hosting videos on Netflix. This makes no sense.
Some of these sound very interesting.
Okay.
So the documentaries in question are Iranian Yellow Pages by the fantastically named Anna Snowball.
Okay, brilliant name.
And Abolfazi Talouni.
Right.
The synopsis is, trying to make his new life in London a success, Reza places an advert in an eccentric newspaper and discovers the Iranian community that is hidden in plain sight.
Okay.
2 mothers. An unusual bond compels an Irish mother to travel to war-torn Ukraine in order to bring her former surrogate and her family to safety.
That'd be hard-hitting.
Turn Up the Bass is the inspirational story of Troy Lee, a deaf DJ, founder of Deaf Rave and pioneer of the UK's deaf music scene. Troy and his team of deaf producers, DJs, MCs, sign singers and dancers will turn up the bass as they celebrate 20 years of deaf raving.
That'd be interesting.
Sperm Donors Wanted
Okay.
is a film that follows a transgender performance artist as he interviews hundreds of potential sperm donors live on stage in a quest to find the ultimate connection, one that will enable him and his partner to start their family.
Interesting.
It's a great idea for
It is
your
a great
stand-up
idea.
tour.
Yeah. Take that to Edinburgh.
Black Stroke. The synopsis being, drowning isn't an option as 3 people tackle their biggest fear. So apparently this is a documentary about, I had no idea about this, there's a very high percentage of black people who do not know how to swim.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whether that's because of access to facilities or... But,
I did not know that either.
yeah.
I'm going to watch all 5 of those.
They are available now on YouTube. Not on Netflix.
Not on Netflix.
Bizarre.
They've all got branded Netflix posters.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're just, for some reason, are not on Netflix.
Anyone watches any of those, let us know. Okay. Last piece of... it's not... I guess it is Netflix news.
It's bizarre news.
I actually suppose it's not technically Netflix news. We've watched this movie on Netflix.
We have.
We watched this movie on this show.
We have.
In this country. Oscar-winning movie, Another Round. Danish movie.
Yes, was a wild card a few seasons ago on our show.
It was.
Did not do well.
We say fairly often, a few times at least, we've said, I could see Hollywood remaking this movie.
Yes.
We definitely didn't say it about this movie.
No. But guess what's happening?
Chris Rock is aboard to direct the English language version of Another Round.
It's about drunk teachers, isn't it? And
yeah.
people, there's like They start off trying to get drunk enough to function in life.
Yeah.
But
So
then it
one of
gets
them's
out
got
of
a
control.
philosophical theory that you should always be a little bit drunk.
Yeah.
Because humans are born with a small amount of alcohol, and
Yeah.
they push the limits farther and farther, don't they?
Yeah, until it gets ridiculous.
And it's Chris Rock.
Chris Rock is making the remake. When you sent this message to me the other day, it blew my mind. I almost did a spit take. It is a Netflix theme story because Chris Rock's picture here has got Netflix logo in the background.
Yeah, sure.
It boggles my mind.
Is it going to be serious?
As much as we didn't like it, this film's an Oscar-winning film.
Yeah.
That is now getting remade for the American audience.
Yeah.
Why not just watch the Oscar-winning version?
I don't know.
And there's lots of other stuff that you could remake that didn't win Oscars.
Yeah. It's utterly bizarre, this one to me.
Yeah, it's so
And
weird.
I can't get out since I've read this story, I can't get out of my head that it will just be grown-ups. Because he's just going to get his mates. So it'll be like David Spade, Adam Sandler, Kevin James.
And him.
And then Chris
Rock will be the main
And
guy.
then I'm like, that's just grown-ups. And they were awful.
I don't get it.
Surely you can't do that.
We're definitely going to keep our eye on this because it makes no sense.
Can you imagine though? You got like Grown Ups 1, Grown Ups 2, and then like the not
Serious
sequel to
Grown
it. But yeah, we're gonna get the gang back together for this Oscar bait film.
Yeah.
That'd be ballsy.
Imagine if it won the Oscar for best film and the original had won Oscar for best international film.
Yeah.
And the remake wins the Oscar for best film, and it's still shit. Makes no sense. It's a crazy story.
I also think they should call it another round.
I agree. I think that is a very good idea.
Okay, let's move on to other movie news. And it has been announced this week that Sony have won the bidding war. It's always a war, isn't it?
It is a war.
Never just a process. This one was, in fact, according to the Hollywood Reporter, a protracted bidding war for the rights to 28 years later.
Yeah.
The sequel to 28 Days Later.
And 28 weeks later.
Exactly. And both Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are on board.
Okay.
They will write and direct, respectively.
Cool.
And the deal also includes a part 2.
Okay.
So this is
So it's a 2-part.
that's not been written yet.
That's not been written yet.
You've got to
Okay.
flex it out to 2 parts, which will also be written by Garland.
I want them to do 28 years later and 28 decades later.
Sure, why not? Although Boyle has only signed up for the first movie.
Okay, so the second one will just be
the part 2 to be directed to be determined later.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy is also on board,
Okay.
but only as a producer at this stage.
Right. That's where it all kind of started for him with that, didn't it? That was just like his big break.
It's pretty iconic, that imagery of him.
Yeah. 28 Days Later is a
gadding
great
around
zombie
an
movie.
empty London.
It regenerated zombie movies. Zombie movies were dead when 28 Days Later came out.
There's no Walking Dead without that.
No,
movie,
there's not. Not at all.
I would say.
No.
Although I would also say I can't say I heard this news and was terribly excited.
No, I'm not either. Because it feels like it's been too long.
I just don't know if it's zombie tiredness.
We're zombie tired because of 28 Days Later, though. So
It's a self.
I know somebody who
prophecy.
was very excited when he heard the news.
Okay.
So people out there are excited.
Sure.
I will watch it. They're both really good movies, the first two. So.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it shouldn't really be a zombie movie 28 years after the zombie apocalypse. There wouldn't be any zombies left, in theory.
Yeah.
So it should be how we rebuilt the world after.
It should, shouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But whether it will be or not, I don't know. But we shall find out because it is coming.
Okay. Busy boys, these two. Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan, who are putting the finishing touches or getting ready to do the press rounds for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Comes next month.
For those are the two behind that. Have already lined up their next job.
Oh, right. Okay.
And they are signed up for SNL 1975.
Okay.
A movie about the fraught preparation and first night of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay. So it's like the origin story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Reitman will direct and Keenan will write. Obviously, close to Jason Reitman's heart because his dad, Ivan, was part of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, absolutely.
As was half the cast of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And come on board as part of the cast are Lamorne Morris.
Nice.
Dylan O'Brien, Corey Michael Smith, and Matt Wood. The official synopsis says, on October the 11th, 1975, a ferocious troupe of young comedians and writers changed television forever. SNL 1975 is the true story of what happened behind the scenes that night in the moments leading up to the first broadcast of NBC's Saturday Night Live. It depicts the chaos and magic of a revolution that almost wasn't, counting down the minutes in real time to the infamous words. Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
It feels like it's going to be a companion movie to that one that we watched a couple of seasons ago.
It could be a sequel to
what was it called?
The
National Lampoon one. What was it called?
Yeah.
I cannot remember what it's called. That's really gone out.
It was a really good movie.
It was.
It had a really long title. I just can't remember.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the same sort of time period, wasn't it? That could be really interesting. I didn't realise there was a story to that, so
yeah,
it'd be interesting to find out what the story is.
Just because the world's a small place. Ella Hunt is also in the cast for that.
Okay.
She has been on this show.
She has.
Before. Yeah, SNL, the movie, is coming.
Wicked.
Okay, we plough on, therefore there is lots of news this week. Millie Alcock has landed the role of Supergirl in James Gunn's DC universe. You may know her if you have watched House of the Dragon.
I haven't.
Played the young Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Okay.
I've also not watched that. James Gunn himself said, Millie is a fantastically talented young actor, and I am incredibly excited about her being part of the DCU. I first became aware of her in House of the Dragon, but I was blown away by her varied auditions and screen tests for Supergirl.
Nice.
No word officially on where she will debut, i.e. will it be in the Superman Legacy movie,
Probably.
Which starts filming in a few weeks.
Seems about good timing though, doesn't it?
I would have said so.
Me too.
There is a Supergirl movie on James Gunn's DC Universe list as well.
Cool, okay.
Which I imagine she could move to fairly quickly. Good.
Nice.
More superhero heroine news. Another change in the ever-revolving door in the Thunderbolts movie, which really seems to have been affected by the writers' strike.
More than anything else,
and
I
actors'
think.
strikes. Because Io Edeberry, who you will know from The Bear and winning a lot of awards for The Bear for the last few weeks, now has had to depart the Thunderbolts due to a scheduling clash.
Okay.
So joining Stephen Yeun, who had to leave for the same reason
He did a few weeks ago.
But she has been replaced in an unspecified role by someone else we've seen on this show before.
Okay.
Geraldine Viswanthan.
Nice.
Do you remember her from the Eggplant movie?
Yep.
The Package?
The Package, that was it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, she has joined the cast. I don't think I put this all together before, but the movie has been directed by Jake Schreier, who was the director behind Beef.
Oh, right, okay.
On Netflix. And also the latest script for Thunderbolts has been written by Lee Sung-jin, who also was the writer behind Beef.
Oh, nice.
If that makes you more interested.
It does a little bit,
movie.
I'm not going to lie.
Good. We're nearly there. A couple of bits more news.
Sweet.
We talked, it seems like a long time ago, about the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic.
Yes, we did.
In which Michael Jackson himself will be played by his real life nephew.
Yes.
Jafar.
Yes.
Jafar Jackson will be playing.
I do remember this.
The King of Pop. Well, fresh off his Oscar and multiple award nominations, Coleman Domingo has signed on to play Michael Jackson's father, Joe.
Oh, okay. That's good casting. So he looks just like Joe Jackson in that picture. So.
This, as a reminder, is being directed by Antoine Fuqua. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting story.
I should say so. The director himself said Coleman has such an incredible range. He puts in the work to deeply inhabit his characters and understand their true essence and motivation. I'm grateful to be working with an actor with his passion and ability to portray the many sides of Joe Jackson, a husband, a father, and a manager. The movie is filming now and has a tentative release date for the 18th of April 2025.
Okay. Sweet.
And finally, someone who I think has kept a reasonably low profile for a few years.
Yep.
Duncan Jones.
Oh, yeah. Also, we've done something on the show with Duncan Jones. Mute, indeed.
Yeah. Kept a bit of a low profile since I think he did the Warcraft movie.
Yes, I think he did.
It was the last thing he did. It had been known that he'd been working on Rogue Trooper, which is an adaptation of a 2000 AD comic. So it's the same stable as Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Wow, there's been a huge update on this movie this week. And what has surprised people is that this is going to be an animated movie.
Oh, okay.
Which had not been confirmed before. But probably the reason why a load of updates have come out is that it has been announced that it is officially wrapped to the main portion of its production.
Oh.
We have also got a slew of cast announcements.
So they've managed to make this film without anybody knowing about it.
The cast is quite impressive.
Okay.
Also, it's noted that Duncan Jones used the Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, wow, okay.
To craft the animation for this movie.
That is interesting.
Hayley Atwell and Jack Loudon
are
both on board.
Nice.
So are Reece Shearsmith.
That's a name I wasn't expecting you to say.
Jermaine Clement, Matt Berry, Diane Morgan, Alice Lowe, Asa Butterfield, and Sean Bean.
That's a heck of a cast.
Yeah.
Sean Bean.
Rogue Trooper follows a generic infantryman who ends up the vengeful sole survivor of an invasion force on New Earth in a war between the Naughts and the Southers.
Oh.
Now on a mission to find the traitorous general who sold him and his fellow troopers out, the super soldier is accompanied by 3 killed-in-action squad mates whose personalities have been stored in his gun, helmet, and rucksack.
I think you've just done him a disservice there.
Why?
Because you called him generic infantryman, but the story actually says genetic infantryman.
Oh, does it? Sorry. I've been talking too much. I thought it meant as in just...
Yeah, just a boring bloke.
No, not boring, as in like he was just a nameless...
Like a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
like a clone.
yeah, exactly.
No, he's genetic, whatever that means.
Well, are we all genetic?
Yep. Unless that's a typo and he is generic, I don't know.
Jones said, 2000 AD offers a very different flavour of comic action, political and brutal at times, but always with a Python-esque twinkle in the eye. Dredd was a taste of what 2000 AD has to offer, and now we get to show the world another side of this beast. It is a genuine privilege to be given the opportunity to make Rogue Trooper.
Oh, there's some cool images underneath as well.
Yeah. That excites me.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know anything about that property,
not me.
but...
We don't even know if he's generic or genetic.
He's one or the other.
One or the
Could
other.
be both, maybe. Who knows?
Any more news?
That's all the news.
Good work. Have you watched anything good at the top of the stream?
I've watched a few things.
Go on.
Let's finally, for the last time, mention Traitors.
Oh, yes, let's
Was it worth it?
Yes.
Oh, it was fantastic.
What incredible
I
television.
don't think we can we say spoilers?
Yeah. No.
Do we need... I
don't
don't
think we need
I don't
to.
think
It's
I
out
need
there.
to.
It's out there.
Literally, last episode.
Edge of the seat. I jumped out off the sofa a few
This is
times.
the best thing I've ever seen on TV.
Reality TV wise, it's the best thing I've ever seen on TV. Better than most dramas I've watched for years. It was brilliant.
It's so well crafted.
It's perfect.
Like, I'd love to have be a fly on the wall. The producers like pulling the strings that like oh, if this goes this way, this could be brilliant. Yeah. And it was just...
It couldn't have gone... For the producers, it couldn't have gone better.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they wanted to happen. It was beautiful TV, I thought. I was worried about this season because reality TV going into a second season is always difficult because People know how to play the game.
Yeah.
People are in there just to get famous. But Traitors didn't have any of that. If anything, this season was better than the first series. And
But you don't have to follow a format, do you? Well, obviously,
No.
the format's same in terms of someone dies every night, someone gets banished. But
Yeah.
in terms of what makes up that, there's different. They give them different tasks.
Yeah.
There's, the sort of snap games. It's all just.
I
There's
think-
so much you can do with it.
I think what really helps the Traitors as well is that there's no like general public involvement in it. There's
No.
nobody voting you out every
no,
night.
it's
It doesn't
take
matter
them all
who
away for 3 weeks.
film it. It
closed
was filmed in
doors
September,
and-
apparently. It's literally doesn't matter who you like and who you don't like. You can't influence it. You've
Yeah.
just got to watch it as if it is a drama.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It is so good.
Yeah.
The Australian one is out now on BBC iPlayer as well, and the first series of that was really good.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to go watch that at some point.
Was it as good as the British one?
The first series was as good as the British one, yeah. I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. They weren't as... Though I always think the thing with the first series of the British one is everybody kind of got on, and everybody was really friendly with each other.
Yeah.
Most of the way through
yeah.
to a point, whereas in the Australian one, nobody gives a shit. It's just like they all hate each other. Much like they did in the second
But then
series of
even in
one.
this series of the British traitors, they were all like, yeah, it's you. And then it
Yeah.
just got like everyone just ended up slinging everyone's names around
Yeah.
because none of them had a clue.
It was a bad performance by the Faithfuls, but what a show.
Yeah.
The Traitors is fantastic. I can't say any more than that. It's just great TV.
So yeah, that was just insane.
Apparently
last
there's a
Friday.
show on Netflix called The Trust that's
Okay.
just come out, and apparently that's a similar idea.
Right.
But apparently that's quite good. I've not seen any of it. I probably won't watch any of it, but
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it.
But I was just so invested in this.
Yeah, me too. I was all over it.
That episode that was totally dedicated to someone's funeral.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is, and they had to walk
Yeah.
them to their funeral, and everyone was kitted out like they were in My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
was
I
so
tell you what
good.
as well, Claudia Winkleman deserves all the awards for it.
I
She was
honestly
so good.
give her an acting award, a
Yeah.
BAFTA nomination or something.
It must be hard for her as well because she's in there with these people in this really intense environment and she knows what's going on. So any little thing on her face is going to give that
Yeah.
away, and so she has to be really careful.
I saw an
for
interview with her
all
this week,
time.
and she said, like, I really like them all as well.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to see when they go, and it's like, I can imagine being in that room at the end.
It must have been so tense. It must have been so tense, and for her not to have to give anything away
Yeah.
on her face, it must be a tough job for her.
Yeah.
But she's fantastic at it. Nobody could do it better than her.
No, she's brilliant.
She is.
So yeah.
Anyway,
there's
let's stop gushing about the Traitors.
that.
I think for the next series of the Traitors, we should do a spin-off podcast where we talk about each episode.
Yeah,
every
fine.
night. Let's do
I'm
that.
up for that. I'm up for that. I've watched the most recent batch of episodes released. I think it's 4 or 5 episodes of Queer Eye.
Okay, I didn't know there was any new Queer Eye. That's cool.
I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
Cried in every single one.
Oh, really?
Like, there was one in particular which they went to meet a deaf American football coach.
Yeah.
And he works at a deaf school, and his father was a football coach, and it was I literally cried the whole way through. So they gave this guy the glow up, they kitted out all the locker rooms for the kids, and
Nice.
at the end they were all everyone was crying. It's
just nice, wholesome content,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it? Queer Eye?
doing something good.
Yeah.
And it's that there was a guy, another episode, there was a guy, a huge Kiss fan, so his house was full of Kiss memorabilia.
Nice.
That's all he wore was Kiss t-shirts. His daughters had nominated him, saying, look, he's dad's in a rut. He doesn't go out, he's not really got any friends, but he cares for his brother,
Right.
who had been injured in a road traffic accident and is paralysed.
Oh, wow.
And so they were giving this guy some time to himself, and again gave him a makeover, redid the house,
Wow.
bought all new equipment for his brother to help look out, and it was just like, it's emotional yet uplifting at the same time.
Makes you feel
It's
good
a
about
great
the
show.
world. Cool.
Yeah. And then just for something stupid, I've watched October Faction.
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's about a couple who, it's kind of like Men in Black,
Okay.
but crossed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
So there's a couple that work for this government agency, and they have to go around killing demons that walk amongst us and
All right,
vampires and stuff.
Where would I find this?
On Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
10
I've
episodes.
Never heard of it.
It's about 4 years old. Got
Right.
cancelled after one season.
Oh, okay. That's why I've never heard of it then.
It was alright.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You watched it all?
Yeah.
Wicked.
It's one of those programs that's full of like, oh, I know you from, I don't know, Bones or these Sleepy Hollow or these, TV people.
Days gone by.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How about you?
I haven't put it on this list, but I finished The Brother's Son.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really good. I'd highly recommend that.
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend. If you like these like martial arts action movies,
sure.
It's a bit of a parody of them, but it's also got a really great story. Michelle Yeoh's great. The two main guys in it are great. It's really good.
Good.
Check it out. As soon as that finished, I started watching Boy Swallows Universe.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
It's everywhere on Netflix. Well, it's everywhere on my Netflix at the minute, so I thought I'd give it a go. It's Australian.
Yes.
It follows two kids who are having a tough time of it at the minute. Their parents and step parents are getting into drugs and alcohol, and they've got no money, and it's all bad times. And it's just how these two guys navigate their way through growing up during this tumultuous time for them. And it's really wholesome. It's really good. The two main kids, they're both kids. They're only like 13 at that, but they're both brilliant in it. I've only done 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But one moment I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe they actually went somewhere that most shows don't go to. And I was like, oh, I'm quite surprised they've done that. So, yeah, I would highly recommend that from what I've seen so far. Quickly as well on Netflix, I noticed there's a short making of documentary of the Society of the Snow that's appeared. It's in Spanish. It isn't dubbed, so you have to watch it subtitled. But it's really interesting how they film that film.
Cool.
Because it's all about how they had to make like 5 different aeroplane fuselages that did different things and put them in different locations. And one was on a gimbal that could move around, and one was buried in snow, and one was on location. And it was really interesting how they filmed it all in different places, but then tie it all together to make it look the same.
That's good, because we always say Netflix has just bung more of that.
Yeah, it felt like a DVD extra.
Yeah, next to the...
And it just appeared... I can't remember what it's called now, but it has got a special name, but it's basically a Spanish making of the... Yeah. And it shows you all the audition tapes for all the guys that are in it as well, because they're mostly unknowns, the people in that show. And then it shows you them meeting their actual real life, if their characters survive, meeting the people who were actually in the plane. And it's really interesting. It's only on for half an hour, but it was good. Saturday night, I watched a film on Amazon Prime that was recommended to me by Ross Cook, even though he hadn't seen it. He was just like, watch this, you'll probably enjoy it, and I did. It's called Totally Killer.
We've talked about it. It's the time travel slasher film.
Yeah, basically. It's the time travel slasher movie. It's fun. It's just a fun slasher movie. It's not pulling up any trees. There's nothing special about it, but I really enjoyed it. It felt like very much a me movie. Yeah. You've seen Final Girls?
Yes.
It's that.
Oh, okay.
It's the same movie. Apparently, when the trailer was released of Totally Killer, the director of Final Girls tweeted, "Haven't I made this one before?" Which I thought was really funny. And then most importantly this week, I've been to the cinema this week.
Okay,
I went to watch an advanced screening of The Iron Claw.
Oh, yeah.
The new wrestling movie that's out with Zac Efron in. Wow.
And Jeremy Allen White,
Zac Efron. There's loads of people in it. Yeah. It's great.
Was it good?
Yes, it's fantastic, but it's really, really tough.
Yeah, it's a bleak story.
It's really bleak story. The real story is much more tragic than the movie as well. They've had to cut some stuff out of it because it's too sad. But yeah, it tells the story of the Von Erich wrestling family through the late 70s, early 80s, going into the 90s briefly, and how they didn't survive the boom in wrestling and how horrible that story is.
Yes, there's a lot of tragedy in that family.
Yeah.
And the number of brothers who sadly did not make it out of...
Fritz Von Erich had 6 boys and one of them is alive today. Yeah. And it's a really tough watch. It goes to places you didn't expect it to go.
How's the acting?
Zac Efron has never been half as good as he is in it.
Sure.
Zac Efron's brilliant in it. Yeah, and everybody's great in it. It's come out at a weird time because I feel like it's missed the Oscars. I don't know if it intentionally did that. I don't know.
I just don't think it's had enough traction. Because it was out.
It's been out in America for a while.
A couple of months ago in America.
Yeah, so it would have qualified in time, I assume.
So, yeah.
But I don't know how it hasn't got at least something because everybody's great in it.
Yeah.
Everybody's great in it. But Zac Efron is fantastic. Everybody even... Obviously, I know the guys. I know the story. I know what these guys look like. Everybody's body shape's right. And that's what blew my mind. Because the Von Erichs have a very distinct look, don't they?
Yeah.
And everybody's body shape just looks
muscles
right.
and mullets.
They are all muscles and mullets. But I don't know, just something about it was just great. But I will say, my one criticism of it the guy who plays Ric Flair is terrible.
Okay.
I don't know who he is, but he's really bad. Ric Flair's got a very distinct voice.
Yeah, surely that's quite an easy...
Didn't even attempt it.
Really?
He's got a lisp. He's got a very southern drawl. This guy doesn't even attempt to do the voice. And I don't know, that must have been a decision that's been made in the movie. But he looks like him. He didn't even attempt it. And I don't understand the thinking behind it. But other than that, it's not, I think it's out. Is it out now? Is it out tomorrow? It's out very soon.
It may be this weekend, yeah.
Go and check it out. It's fantastic. Even if you're not interested in wrestling, that story is insane and needs to be told. And I think that's it. I think that's everything I've watched this week.
Awesome.
Shall we briefly talk about what we've got coming up on this week's movie show and then get out of here? I think we've done a wave.
We certainly can. We are back on this very feed on Thursday where we will be talking about Hypnotic.
We will indeed. Katie Siegel's back on the show.
Yeah, she is.
She's not the only one who's back on the show.
She is not.
More on that coming up.
Okay. Yeah, Hypnotic is... what would you call it? A thriller?
Yep. It's
psychological thriller?
Psychological thriller about hypnosis.
Sure.
And its evilness, its evil side.
Felt kind of, I'm sure we'll go into this more on Thursday, it felt like a bit of a throwback in a sort of... This is the sort of movie that got made a lot in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
Starring like Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or something like that.
I'd agree with that.
That doesn't necessarily feel like it gets made as much anymore.
No. It felt like a bit of a throwback to the earlier days of this show to me as well, because we used to do a lot of movies like this and we seem to have fallen away from them, not intentionally.
Yeah.
We don't seem to do movies like this anymore, but this felt like a bit of a throwback to earlier days of Bottom of the Stream.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it a lot more on Thursday. So if you want to listen to that, come back on Thursday and we will talk to you about Hypnotic. And I think we've done a wave.
We certainly have. Come back Thursday and listen to us then.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Bye.